For 6 months, I chased the perfect trip across Asia. I had a checklist a mile long: the Great Wall, Kyoto's shrines, sunrise at Angkor Wat. I thought I knew exactly what I was looking for. But the funny thing about travel is, the most beautiful moments are never on the itinerary. It wasn't until I landed in a country I knew almost nothing about that I realized the best views aren't the ones you see with your eyes, but the ones you feel. This is how I went looking for adventure, but found a home in the Philippines. My name is Sarah, I'm 26, and like so many people, I was just tired of my 9-to-5 grind. I wanted more. So, I did the crazy thing. I saved up every penny, packed 2 bags, and booked a one-way ticket to Asia. The plan was simple, at least on paper: a 6-month grand tour of all the highlights. I was on a mission to fill my camera roll with epic photos and my journal with unbelievable stories. Tokyo, Bangkok, Bali, these names felt like magic. I was ready to see it all. What I wasn't ready for was to feel it all. The first 4 months were a beautiful, exhausting whirlwind. I mean, I stood on the Great Wall of China. I ate my way through the night markets of Taiwan, with every single bite being a new adventure. I wandered through ancient temples in Cambodia, feeling tiny next to something so grand. My Instagram feed looked incredible. It was a highlight reel of everything I thought I wanted, but something was missing. I had this nagging feeling I couldn't shake. It was like I was watching a movie of my own life instead of actually living it. I was a tourist, a spectator, just moving through these amazing places without ever really connecting to them. I was collecting experiences, just ticking boxes off a list. I had thousands of photos, but very few memories that felt truly warm, the kind that settle into your soul. I was starting to feel hollow, and that's when I decided to throw the plan out the window. Based on a single conversation with a backpacker in a hostel, I did something impulsive. I booked a cheap flight to the Philippines. I knew nothing about it. The name just sounded gentle. I landed in Cebu with absolutely zero expectations. The second I stepped off the plane, the air hit different. It was thick, humid, and smelled like the ocean mixed with sweet diesel. The airport wasn't some polished, futuristic hub. It was loud, a bit chaotic, and throbbing with life. My first jeepney ride was a total sensory overload. A rolling work of art with blaring music and people packed in shoulder to shoulder, passing their fares hand to hand down the line. It wasn't clean or perfect. It was gritty, a little messy, and 100% human. For the first time in months, I wasn't watching from a distance. I was thrown right into the middle of it, and instead of feeling overwhelmed, I just felt calm. The frantic pace of my checklist tour finally started to slow down. My need to see everything was replaced by a simple desire to just be. I didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. I got my first real taste of Filipino magic in El Nido, Palawan. And yes, it's just as much of a paradise as the pictures show. The limestone cliffs jutting out of the emerald water are so dramatic, they almost don't look real. My first day there was on an island hopping tour, and I took all the postcard-perfect photos of lagoons and hidden beaches. It was stunning, but I still felt that familiar sense of being on the outside looking in. The next day, I rented a scooter with a simple goal: get lost, and I succeeded. I took a wrong turn down a muddy, unpaved road. The road got worse and worse until my scooter finally gave up and died in front of a small, simple house. I was miles from town. I had no phone signal, and the panic started to creep in. But before it could take hold, a man came out of the house, wiping grease from his hands. We had a huge language barrier. He knew almost no English, and I knew zero Tagalog. But through smiles and gestures, he saw my problem. He spent the next hour tinkering with my scooter, his curious kids watching from the doorway. When he finally got it running, I was so relieved I pulled out all the cash I had to pay him. He just shook his head, smiled, and waved my money away. Then, his wife came out with a glass of water and a plate of fresh mango. They refused to take a single peso. They were just helping because a stranger needed help. And in that moment, sitting on their porch, covered in mud and sticky with mango juice, I felt more welcome than I had in 4 months of fancy tours. It wasn't about the incredible landscape anymore. It was about the incredible kindness within it. A week later, I found myself in a small village in Bohol during their annual town fiesta. Fiestas, I learned, are a massive deal in the Philippines, celebrating a town's patron saint with unbelievable amounts of food, music, and community spirit. I was just an obvious tourist walking through the streets when a woman waved me over to her house, yelling with a huge grin, "Kain na! Let's eat." Next thing I knew, I was inside a home buzzing with people, and a plate was piled high with lechon, adobo, and pancit. Nobody asked who I was or why I was there. I was a visitor. And in the Philippines, that means you're treated like family. I spent the next few hours with them, sharing food and so much laughter. The grandmother, the Lola, just patted my arm and smiled, speaking to me in a dialect I didn't understand, but her tone was universal. The kids eagerly practiced their English with me. I even got pulled into a round of karaoke, which is basically a national sport there. My version of Hotel California was absolutely awful, but they cheered for me like I was a rock star. I'd eaten amazing food all over Asia, but that was the first meal that felt like it was made with love. It was a generosity so genuine, it just humbled me. They shared everything they had, not because they had a lot, but because that's just what you do. That night, I didn't feel like a tourist. I felt like I belonged. Floating in the cool turquoise water of Kawasan Falls a few days later, it all finally clicked. I thought about my whole trip. I'd seen wonders of the world, but they were made of stone and history. In the Philippines, I was finding wonders of the human heart. I came to Asia wanting to see things, but the Philippines made me feel things. It showed me a part of myself that had been craving real connection, not just confirmation through a camera lens. The journey wasn't about what I could get anymore. What photos, what stories. It became about what I could give back. A smile, a moment of my time, a shared laugh. I realized the true essence of travel isn't about the sights you see. It's about the kindness you encounter. It's not about finding the perfect postcard view, but the beautiful, messy, imperfect reality of connecting with people. If this story is hitting home for you, and if you also believe that travel should be more than a checklist, then I'd love for you to subscribe. I have so many more stories to share about the people and places that change us, and I want you to be part of that journey. There's a word in the Philippines that I learned later, bayanihan. It's a word that describes a spirit of communal unity, of helping others without asking for anything in return. It comes from the old tradition of neighbors literally picking up a family's house and carrying it to a new spot. I didn't know the word then, but I felt it everywhere. I felt it from the mechanic on that muddy road, from the family who shared their feast, and from every stranger who offered me a smile or pointed me in the right direction. This deep sense of community, this instinct to care for one another, is the real treasure of the Philippines. It's more breathtaking than any beach I saw. I traveled all over Asia, but the Philippines is the place that took my heart. It took it, filled it to the brim, and gave it back to me, bigger than it was before. I went there looking for adventure, but I found belonging. I went there looking for beautiful sights, but I found a beautiful feeling. The feeling of home. My camera is full of pictures of stunning beaches and waterfalls, but the real souvenirs are the ones I carry inside me. The taste of that family meal, the sound of laughter during bad karaoke, the warmth of a stranger's unconditional kindness. The Philippines taught me that the best trips aren't the ones you can post online, but the ones that truly change you long after you're back home. So I have to ask, what place has unexpectedly captured your heart? Tell me your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear it.